Can you hear me? Okay, good. All right, I'm Whitehead, and I'm going to start off right off the bat with a quick science lesson about how breastfeeding works. So we start off, we stimulate the nipple, very exciting start to a talk. We get the signal to the brain, and the brain releases some prolactin to tell the breast, hey, make some milk. It also releases some oxytocin to say, hey, you got to let go of the milk you have. That letdown's essential. You have to do both things. This is a very elegant feedback loop, whereas each time you empty the breast, the more milk mom makes. And this is pretty important. Babies are really, really good at doing this. If you've ever fed a newborn, they are impossibly hungry all of the time. And what they're doing is they're building mom's milk supply. They're getting mom to make enough milk to keep them in adequate nutrition. And they need to feed around the clock, every 2 to 4 hours or so. With my second baby, we got up to about 6 hours a day of breastfeeding. And this is an actual graph of how much I was feeding her at 1 month of age. Each of those maroon bars is her eating time. Wouldn't it be great if pumping at work could happen like this? The problem is, it can't. One, pumps are just not as efficient at getting milk out of breasts as babies are. But two, there's a lot of challenges that we run into in the emergency department specifically that make pumping really hard for us. There's a lot of stress that we encounter in our work. It turns out that stress has an effect on the physiologic process. We know from animal models that it seems to have the biggest effect on the oxytocin portion of this, the letdown portion of this. If anyone has had this experience, you know how frustrating it is to feel like you need to pump. You head in to pump, you're stressed about something, and very little or even nothing comes out. This is our reality. Hopefully it's not our everyday reality for most of us, but we exist primed for this every day we're at work. So our stress levels are up there. More realistically, though, we have stress every single day that includes boarding, overcrowding, patients sitting in the hallway staring at us, needing us. So it's really hard, for me at least, to take 20 minutes in the middle of a busy shift like this, to walk through this environment, to go to a lactation room and say, I'm not going to be available for 20 to 30 minutes because I need to pump. A lot of this is self-imposed. I love the culture of emergency medicine. We're hard on ourselves, and we tend to work until the job is done, and really the job isn't done until our replacement comes in. So it was extremely hard for me to decide, hey, I'm going to leave shift 1 or 2 times a day in order to pump. This is my little N of 2. Carter, the first one, was born during fellowship. Mariah is 10 months old, and I've been attending through her entire infancy. With Carter, breastfeeding and pumping did not go as well as I'd hoped. I had a ton of support at work, but as soon as I got back to work, this is the angriest photo the child has ever taken. He's generally happy. I got back to work, and my supply just plummeted. And then by 6 months, we were barely limping across the finish line. We switched him to formula. There were tears. They were all my tears. He was fine. As it turns out, formula is not toxic, and he has grown into a very functional young man. With Mariah, though, things have gone better. I've met the goals that I've wanted to make, and I'm happier. I'm not as stressed about this. And I think there are a few key realizations that I've had that have made myself more successful. One, I realized as an emergency physician, I'm not actually breastfeeding to save money, that frugality is not the goal here. And then I've stopped underestimating how hard this is to do. So how does forgetting that I'm saving money, or that I might be saving money with breastfeeding, affect things? Well, it's allowed me to throw some money at the problem. I have bought better equipment. I've bought more equipment. As soon as something starts to break, I replace it. I have a nice cooler that I like. I have given myself permission to throw resources at this. Giving myself permission also to be not perfect at it, to not bring home enough ounces of breast milk and not let that stress snowball into having less success with pumping at work. As it turns out, again, formula is not toxic. One of the first things I did before I went back to work with the second was bought a tub of formula, so that wasn't even a concern for me. If I don't bring home enough milk, she's not going to starve, and it's going to be okay. I don't have stock in Kirkland Signature, but I love their products. I also don't have stock in anyone who makes pumps or pump parts, but going hands-free is a game changer, and there's a lot of new technology on the market, and I recommend anyone in emergency medicine take advantage of this. I can pick up a batch of patients, go see them, head back to my desk, I hook up to my pump, which is all contained under my shirt, and I pump while I chart, put in orders, call consultants, take transfer calls, staff with residents. They often ask what that strange music is. It's actually the pump. And I get a lot done. This is also my snack time. pumping makes me extremely hungry, so I've started to incorporate that in. And that's really where I think this lesson about pumping is going to move forward in my life after the children are eating steak and they don't need breast milk anymore. I've realized there's very little that comes into our emergency department that I have to get up for right away. I can count on one hand probably the number of times that's happened while I've been pumping. We have permission to take care of ourselves while we're at work. We can finish our thoughts, we can have a snack, we can go to the bathroom, and if we need to, we can pump. Thank you.
Is this on? Oh, great. Loved your talk, and a very relevant topic of conversation that comes up, and we see it all the time in the ED as a trainee as well, and I'm sure with our attendings. And I thought that was a really good topic that you chose, just because I think it's an escape from all the other academic things that we talk about. So thank you.